So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted to have with us Verity Fox, who's managing director at Dominion Print. So, firstly, Verity, thank you for spending some time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, Dominion Print, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me, of course. I've been really looking forward to it, but nervous.
Brilliant.
But in terms of Dominion and what we do, we're family run still now, 43 years old.
Brilliant.
Large format printers. We try and trying to sort of be because there's a lot of newer people coming into the print industry. So trying to sort of put ourselves as, experts. We really do know what we're doing. We want to take your project and really help from the outset so we can help sort of eliminate some of those smaller issues that sort of end up being bigger ones as the thing goes on. So I think obviously been in the market a long time. We've gone from screen to digital. And yeah, we obviously have a massive amount of capacity and we've done the full rebrand and everything else. So yeah, exciting times here for us.
Brilliant. It really is. I was saying before we started, great to see, um, so many print businesses flourishing and developing because historically has been uh, quite difficult, I think.
Hmm.
And for anyone watching, that what would make a great client? What sort of the people you serve best would you say?
I think really we can cover sort of a wide base of clients and a variation of needs. We can do sort of from building wraps and seat kills at football stadium to banners outside supermarkets and hardware stores to fabrics inside retail shops. So we really do cover the full spectrum from events and exhibitions and all the rest of it. So we really do know what we're doing in terms of large format print.
Brilliant, brilliant. And sorry, 43. It's 43 years. You said you've been
Yeah,
operating.
yeah, yeah,
That's a hell of a track record. So you
yeah.
clearly do know what you're doing. You may or may not be aware of the unfortunate business survival stats, but unfortunately, any business founded today, in 80% of businesses fail in 5 years,
Oh my
and of
gosh,
the
yeah.
20% that survive, 80% of those fail in the following 5 years.
Yeah.
So just to get to 10 years, you're in the top 4% of businesses
Yeah,
anyway.
well, that's some going.
It is some good. I have no idea. I will search up where 40 years looks like, but well done to everybody already. And clearly, that is a mark of knowing what you're
Yeah.
doing and being able to support people well. So
So,
maybe, Verity, we could start a little bit looking backwards to start with, and you tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got into
yeah.
business, and why this particular one for you.
Well, so we obviously so it's my family's business. My dad started the business in 1983. And he'd before that he'd actually started a business called Multi Graphics, which was quite big in the world of print at the time, and they got bought by DS Smith. But he started that business with his father, and then his brothers joined, and as brothers do, they all went separate ways. So my dad started Dominion in the back room, which is where we started. So print is absolutely in my blood. It's
Brilliant.
through and through. My mum works in the company as well, so she's one of the directors who run the company together. So it really is in my blood. I think I've listened to it all my life.
Brilliant.
Um, yeah, parents would come home smelling of screen print inks, and I'd be like inhaling. So I think yeah, that's how I got into it, and it was working for the family business was always something that I was keen to do.
Brilliant. Wonderful. What a great story. And what do you think the benefits and challenges of running a family business are, would you say?
I think that the challenges and the benefits sort of are similar, really. I think
Yes.
obviously the challenges are that you can be really blunt with each other, and that causes upset. And the benefits are that you can be really blunt with each other, and that leads to change and stuff. So I think that they do that is the nature of them, and I think
Brilliant.
you expect so much more from each other, and you can have those blunt conversations. So yeah,
Absolutely. I've worked with quite a few family businesses over time, and it is a different dynamic in as you
yeah.
say that the communication is quite
Yeah,
yes quite
suddenly
straightforward.
having a bit of a tension moment in a meeting or whatever, where me and my dad would be a bit, but in the end, I suppose it was always his baby, it was his his company, and I refer to the business as like a third sibling, so
Yes.
the oldest, as it were. So yeah, that's how it was really.
Brilliant. Wonderful. And looking back over time, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome?
I think the sort of the biggest challenges that I've had to overcome professionally and personally, really. So we lost my dad in January 2023.
Right.
Um, it's quite a short illness with cancer. And so I'd sort of been looking at the day to day running and dealing with certain aspects of the business, but was still very much sort of having him as a mentor to talk me through things and
Yes.
go through things, including the purchase of my first machine. So we bought the first Q5R. And I think my biggest challenge was sort of navigating going from being his left or right hand. There's me and mum. We were one of each one hand, and sort of going from that to
Yeah.
to sort of running it and dealing with the day to day. I found quite difficult, and the biggest challenge was navigating from, oh well, how would dad do it, and oh, that's not how dad would have done it. I should have done this and I should have done that. I think for me it was, all right, okay, so how do I want to do it and how do
Yeah.
I want to deal with it and what do I think, and sort of having his voice there but thinking, oh, actually, do you know, I don't agree with you, and going with my angle.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess as you say, I guess there's always that comfort, isn't it, of having them there, even if we've plowing our
yeah,
own furrow, but having to deal with them
yeah,
not being here.
yeah.
That's wonderful. And whether it's from the challenges or from the successes you had, what what would you say are biggest learnings about growing a successful print business?
Well, I think from both of them, and this is something that me and my mum talk about a lot because we work really, really closely together, is that what came was, I don't really know why it was a shock, but sort of after dad had died in January, you expect that everyone's world stops turning like yours has, and I was sort of pitched into,
Yes.
oh, actually, sorry, the world is turning and I need this, that, and the other. And I think that was something that was a big learning curve for me, is that no matter what you're going through, everything keeps going. And you have to try and keep moving with it, if you can. I think that's probably what I learned really, is that you have to show up, even just
Yeah.
trying to show up. And I was really lucky. Our team here were so supportive and really helpful, and they really helped to get through it and deal with it all. And they were really supportive, so I think that was good. But definitely, that's what I've learned. I think, is to just try and keep going, and that the world does keep moving.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, it
Yeah,
must be quite difficult. And it's a great, yeah. I mean, as you said, given your dad was obviously the founder of the business, then
yeah,
it's an added difference, isn't it, for a family business when your father's there.
for sure.
Losing a parent's difficult enough, but when they're
Yeah,
sort of embedded in the business or at least mental to the business, that's got to be pretty
yeah,
tough.
that's it. And me and mum worked really hard to, how do we navigate continuing to the business to continue and hopefully improve while sort of dealing with carrying on functioning and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that we worked quite hard on, and obviously it did take some time. So
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I guess resilience must have been a big part of
I think so.
that
Yeah, but
time.
my dad was extremely resilient. So I think it was, and my mum's really resilient as well. So I think it was that one way we had it covered, that box.
Brilliant, love it, love to hear that. And Verity, I think you're aware we're a business coaching organisation, so I'm
Mhm.
keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that is business or sport or life in general, who has had the biggest impact on you.
I mean, obviously, family business. I'm going to keep harping on about
Yes,
family, but
I totally get it.
100% both of my parents on this. I think as I
Brilliant,
was growing up, the business wasn't as successful as it is now. And so watching the sort of the turning up, it needs to be done. The business needs this, we need that, we need the other, and looking at turning up every day and ensuring that we do it, and we're there for the staff and the business and the customer. I think that was where my biggest coach was them, definitely through that. And then obviously when the business was being successful, it wasn't just, neither of them were ever sitting on the laurels. It was always, what we're going to do next, how do we improve it, basically.
brilliant, brilliant. And yeah, and I mean, I certainly see that in so many family businesses where that is one of those massive benefits, isn't it, of having
Definitely,
the
because
parents
you've
of
grown
people.
up with it, you know what's expected. Yeah,
Absolutely, and you know how much your parents care for you, that want you to have the best thing.
absolutely.
I'd like to say every coach does, but that's
For sure.
that's not necessarily
Yeah.
true. Um, and whether it's from your parents or any other sources, do you have any favourite quotes or sayings about business or success or life that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
So I think we so yeah, so in the industry we have well, there's always time for a reprint is one of the things we say. So if something goes horribly wrong and it was someone goes, oh, it was a really big rush job, and we say, well, that's funny because there's always time for a reprint.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, yeah, and my husband who works with us as well always says onwards, upwards, but always forwards, which is we say at the end of our production meeting because what we're trying to do. But my biggest one is because I overthink things and I terribly plan things out in my head that probably won't happen. But I always think if you're overthinking things, you're just living it twice. Is when I
Yes.
realize that I'm doing it. If I think, oh, I'm overthinking it and worrying about it, and then it does happen, I am just doing it twice, which obviously isn't very efficient. So that always helps me.
Normally it's unpleasant as well. It's like as
Yeah,
you
it's
say,
not.
you're going through it twice. As why would you do that? It's
Yes,
really
exactly.
interesting, isn't it? Worry. I do quite a lot of work with people I work with on that idea. I met a guy many years ago, and he said to me, he said, if I was to say to you moving forward that every decision you make would go right, everything you did, would be perfect, you'd probably think I was a bit foolish. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, worry is almost the opposite, thinking everything's going to go wrong, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So
it is. Yeah,
it's
it's
equally
true.
foolish, yet we seem more comfortable in that
Yeah,
worry.
in that world. Yeah, for sure.
But,
For sure.
but he said, but it's a choice. So we can choose one or the other. And if we were to
Yeah.
choose, which one would we choose?
Well, I know I'd like everything that I did would be right. That would be great.
But it's a funny one because we sort of know, we know logically it won't, but it's sort of, it does help a little bit living a bit more in the, yeah, but it will sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And similarly, any favorite books or podcasts you can recommend about it? Yeah, say whether it's business or life or even just stuff you enjoy.
Well, stuff that I enjoy, I love. There's obviously a couple of really funny podcasts that I enjoy, like the Wolf and Owl and stuff like that. And I really like Ghost Huns. I don't know if you've ever come across it, but they tell ghost stories and they're terribly, terribly funny.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but in terms of work, I sort of went on a Dale Carnegie course recently, and I really enjoyed that from sort of certain aspects that I found really interesting. Some maybe you couldn't really quite use, or I didn't think would be as applicable to in the workplace. I think they're a little bit on the study side, but some of them I think I found really insightful. Like I really enjoyed some of it about like the amount of effort you put into your relationships with people and how if you don't put enough in that easily starts sliding off even people that you're really close with, and
Yes.
that's something that I really try and bring into the team now and try and work really hard to have a relationship with as many
Brilliant.
people as possible.
I mean, it is. I mean, an often said truth that business is all about relationships, isn't it? Whether both
100%.
internal and external, and being as masterful as we can of that is just so
Yeah,
important.
yeah, and it's so
Um,
easy to think, oh right, yeah, no, I've got a really good relationship with them, and then park it, and but when you come back, it's not as good. So I think yeah, that's something that I try and work on.
they have to be worked on, don't they? And I think it's interesting. It's an what's the right word? It's something a lot of businesses and teams miss is that building long-term relationships in the business is has two parts to it. One is um, delivering the product or service to the level of quality that we've expected, and
Yeah,
many people focus on that, rightly so. That's so important. But
yeah,
equally as important is the relationship we build, because we could do a great job, but if people don't like us, then they will be looking for our replacement because
yeah,
we want to work with people we both respect from what they do, but also we like and enjoy meeting and talking to, I think.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And on the learning front, I'm keen to know what you've learned about yourself through your journey so far, Verity.
I think probably the biggest thing that I learned is the resilient thing. Obviously, we joked about having the box ticked, but I think that the resilience and my ability to keep going is something that I learned, and I think I also learned about that. I just problem solving is really great fun. I think that's something else. Like I think lots of problems came up, and coming up with like sitting down with the team and going, all right, so what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? I think yeah, it's the buzz that you get from
Yeah,
something like that is great. Yeah.
wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And we have a definition in Action Coach of a true business, and we say a true business is a commercial, profitable enterprise
Mhm.
that works without its owners. I'm keen to know what your thoughts are on that, especially from a family business perspective, I guess.
Yeah, so I think that that is definitely true. I think owners specifically, obviously, I play quite an active role in the day-to-day management, but I had a baby in 2024. And obviously I was off for mat leave for a bit of time, and the
Yes.
business did, obviously my mum was here, so maybe we weren't ownerless, but the business did run well, and the team really pitched in, and it was good. So I think it does. I think if you've got a really active role within the business, it's maybe a bit harder, but yeah, I think hopefully we do.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think I think the key thing is choice.
Mhm.
And I always put in there can I often say it can work without the owners because I also believe if there is part of what we do that we really love, we
Yeah,
may never want to stop doing that. I mean, if you clearly there's a lot of passion for what you do and
yeah,
the fact that you've got a family business there. So I think the challenge is if we don't have a choice,
yeah,
um, and we don't and we end up not enjoying what we're doing, then we end up
yes.
stuck there. So it's
For
quite interesting.
sure.
And
Yeah, for sure. We've got a really fantastic team. Like my sort of my management team are really, really great, and they really take the reins. I can really trust them to take things on, and they sort of know so much about their individual departments. It just really, really does help you to feel safe, and that you can, that you can take a step back if
yes,
you have to.
brilliant. It is one of those marks, isn't it? Being able to, or even just taking a longer period off, and I guess your mat leave is
Yeah,
part of that. And you do really start to
yeah,
see where the
you
strengths
do.
are and where things can be improved. So it's
Absolutely.
probably good exercise in many ways, I would think.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
And, and so looking forward then, Verity, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
I think that one of the ongoing struggles for the print industry is the sort of the squeeze on, well, and every industry really, but the squeeze on price.
Yeah.
I think we face a lot of rate increases. Obviously, we do work with sort of various different industries, but everyone's feeling the pinch and everyone's trying to pass it on. And I think that that is something that's difficult. Obviously, all the things that reduce in price also reduce the turnover. So your bucket is always got a hole in you're always trying to get things back in the top. So I think that is something that struggles because I think people still want the turnaround, the service levels, the quality, but also the price. So you've sort of gone from having this triangle to having the square, and I think we're trying to accomplish all of it. But
Yes.
that definitely is one of our struggles, I think. But in terms of the successes, obviously we hope to keep refilling the bucket. And we quite heavily focused on retail at the moment. We do bits of events and other elements, but we're just hoping to expand on those current relationships in terms
Brilliant.
of events and exhibitions and building wraps and stuff like that
Yes.
to get that in for a bit of variation.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. No, it makes me think of one of the things you do when I train a lot of sales teams, and one of the classic objection handlings I love, which is goes very similar to what you said, which is basically say, look, most people when they buy whatever they buy, we want the highest quality,
Yeah,
the best service at the lowest price. You know,
yeah,
that's Nirvana. Now
yeah,
you can have one of those, you can often have two, but rarely can you have three.
yeah.
So which one do you really want to compromise on?
Well, this is it, isn't it? It is a challenge.
It really is, and it's. I think it's just helping people understand that quality comes at a price, and
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's like it's easy. There is always a cheaper option. That's the challenge, and it's sort of being
yeah,
confident to say there is a cheaper option, but it comes with a downgrade of quality
mm,
or value or whatever else it is. But
yeah.
very difficult to do when you're in the midst of wanting to win the work.
Yes, absolutely. And print is so competitive.
Yeah,
It's a really competitive market. And I think, like you say, it's about making that decision and thinking,
yeah.
is it right for us? Is it where we want it? And if it isn't, then yeah, you're right. You have sometimes got to let them go. I think it's just a decision that's got to be made, but it's never a nice one.
It's so hard because to be effective in sales, there is an element of wanting to win every job. You know, it's like I've got
Yeah.
to win, but I found for myself personally, but also it's something I teach is that one of the most valuable skills to learn is the ability to say no,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
however tough it feels. Um,
Yes.
and looking back over the period of how you've been growing the business, is there anything significant looking back that you do differently, Verity?
That I would do differently.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think there's always sort of learning curves and things that I'd probably wish to have done. I think obviously it's all happened relatively quickly, and during quite a sort of a difficult personal and business wise period of time. I think I'd probably I'd, I'd I'd probably try and be a little bit more, if I'm being honest, a little bit more figures focused, as it were, or figure happy, as we say. But and just try and take a little bit more note of the detail instead of, because obviously you start to ride high, don't you? You start thinking this is great, da, da, and I think if I'd just thought about it, just been a little bit more on it with something like that, I think I could have just tightened my belt a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, and I think it goes a bit back to, I guess, that idea of, do we think it's going to work or not work, and
Yeah,
but well, I think there was a great word actually, there was a great phrase, and it was relevant to management, but I guess it's relevant to this too. American lady said it. She was talking about effective management, but I think it's relevant to running business. She said, um, management, and I suggest what you talked about running the business is like parenting. She says trust but verify.
yeah,
So we
yeah, for
believe it's going
sure.
to be good, but let's just
But
check
just
that.
make sure. Yeah, for
Let's make sure.
sure. Absolutely, yeah.
Let's make sure.
Absolutely.
Uh, And final question: what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that?
Oh, I think I would say that really you just keep your head down. Not You're not going to win everything. Sort of one of the things when I was growing up, my mum and dad would always say is, "Have you tried?" If I would be upset about, I don't know, a GCSE result or something, it was, "Have you tried your hardest?" And if I could honestly say yes,
Brilliant.
then it was, well, that is as good as you could do,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters. And I think it's always led me to think, did I try my hardest? Because if I didn't, then I should have done, and I will do next time. And I think that is what I would say to me at 18. Have you tried your hardest, or have you sort of tried and now you're just upset that you didn't try harder, I think.
Great advice for everybody. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, if we've tried our hardest, sometimes you got to just accept that was the best, and that's great.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, obviously keep your head down and all the rest of it, but I think as long as you are trying your hardest and you're really putting everything into it, you can't ask much more than that. And, I
No.
think knowing when to ask for help is something that I probably would tell myself as well, I think.
Yes, yes. There's always someone there to help.
Always. And
There
always someone that knows more.
Yeah, 100%. That's very, very true. Um, Verity, it's been fascinating to talk to you. And again, I congratulate you on the success that you've
Thank
had
you.
and clearly continuing to have. And for anyone that's watching that would like to get in touch with you or Dominion, what's the best way of doing that?
So the contact us on there's a contact submission form on our website, which just makes it really easy. And there's some content to download on there as well in terms of like briefing and all that kind of stuff. So have a look on there, and there's lots to go at. But the contact form on there comes straight through to our guys, so someone will be in touch.
Brilliant. Well, look, it'd be great to swing by another 6, 12 months to just see the
Yeah,
next phase of development and your learning. But for now, thank you so much for your
absolutely.
time.
Yeah, no, thank you for yours. It's really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.